How's it going, everybody? Overpowered has now been put into the game, and I gotta say, it needs to go, or it needs to be severely tempered down. We've been seeing some extreme examples of it absolutely ruining a lot of players' experiences. I'm going to outline some of those experiences and some of the findings we've had with Overpowered in this video. So make sure you check it out. And if you do want Scopely to make changes on this system, you really need to let your voices be heard in the comment section here, in the Discord, their official Discord, not my Discord, and on Reddit. Those are the places where they're going to notice your input the most. If there's enough noise about this, they will change it. The same way they've changed Starjammers. The same way they're probably going to end up changing the Vigilance team, because nobody likes how they're currently performing or how they will be performing when you have the full team. So if you want change, you just got to be loud about it. That's all it is. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about everything going on, including issues. So there is bugs, right? Summons are not correctly displaying their overpowered rank. This was a balanced PvP match we did after seeing some interesting stuff on the war front earlier today. We'll have some war footage to share with you guys as well. And what we were noticing is that the summons were displaying, if you grab them kind of holding the mouse button down above them, it was showing them as rank 2. But if you check in game, you can see at the bottom left of that Riot Guard or whatever that Kingdom summon is, it is an 8. And so what we discovered, and we discovered it quite quickly, is that this is just a visual bug. The summons are taking the hits the same as they normally would. Now, this match doesn't look like it because Carnage gets absolutely eviscerated here. You see the Scarlet Witch is showing a 2, the Phoenix shows a 2, but not on the top right corner. So they are at least benefiting from it. Let's just watch the Landra erase the entire team here with her overpowered. Yep, there she killed the entire team. If you want a good example of if it just being a visual bug, we can go to this RTA match here, and you'll see that when the opponent's Phoenix goes dark, she's not all of a sudden just getting absolutely obliterated here. All right, this is for Scotsman. And you see he gets his Phoenix. We're going to drop her really, really fast. This is now Dark Phoenix here. You can see it says 2, but this Dark Phoenix is a 10. I'm going to start doing a lot of big damage attacks, even though I have offense down. You can just notice that the Phoenix is taking the same amount of damage as all the other characters are here, right? That is an overpowered Thanos, so he is 11 to her 10. You notice the other characters there are also taking a good amount of damage, but it's the same amount. So this is confirmed just to be a visual bug. That's the good news, right? The not so good news is that Overpowered is a bit too much. You just saw what Lilandra did. We have other examples of this being even crazier. Incidental damage dealers are abusing the extra stats too much, like Odin, like Ahuri, like Endgame Thanos, and like Wanda. I do have an example to share with you about Wanda earlier today in War. So Wanda, she lost her offense up, but she regained it. And what I found funny is, yes, I mean, this team is going to win this fight no matter what, right? I took a team that was overkill here. I needed to get my attacks in. Wanda does get offense up, but watch the damage that she does to this team, because the damage is absolutely insane. And this is going to kind of become a huge issue in efficiency-based game modes like Crucible. You notice the entire team is all at 100% life right now. Here, let me expand this so you can watch this. You look at the Guardian right now. This is a maxed out Guardian. He's just not level 105. So he might be level 101, 102, whatever the case may be. He could be level 104, but he's not level 105. He has 100% of his life right now. Scarlet Witch hits, does 60%, but the damage wasn't done. It actually did 100% of his life and took a death proof off, which is absolutely insane. Now, I'm talking about incidental damage here, so I'm talking about the Odin battlefield effect. Kahori, when she does her first hit on a controller, is ripping people apart, and then obviously she gets 2 attacks right away. So it's kind of making these gimmicky parts of kits too much. Endgame Thanos, you saw what his big slash did. Even when he had offense down in that RTA match, he did about 30% of everyone's life, even though he had offense down. You saw what Lilandra did when she did it all. But what I'm talking about, what I'm more worried about, I guess, is a character like Kestrel, maybe, if she ever gets reworked. Wanda does retaliates. Any sort of like out of turn damage that you can't really control for, and you have to absorb those hits. So this could be something that, it is a clever thing to put on defense, I guess. It also feels super duper toxic. And we're going to have another example coming up right now about it just breaking counters. So they said in the blog, this should not come at the expense of good strategy. Sinister Six is no longer a hard counter against Spider Society, unless you match the Noir's Overpowered. Basically, any counter that lets the enemy take a turn is now a soft counter against Overpowered. So we had a couple people in chat today on Twitch and on YouTube coming in saying like, their Sinister Six lost against the Spider Society because the enemy Noir was ahead of them and they were hitting to security. So when that Noir does his ultimate into the defense down, he just killed the Green Goblin, killed the Doc Ock, one shot, doesn't matter. Could that be the case in Crucible? It could be depending on the room rules, right? So security gives minus 50% or plus 50% damage incoming, right? In stage 2 right now, we have a room that's giving 100% extra damage. So if somebody put their Spider Society in there and somebody went ahead and hit it with their Superior 6, that Noir is going to kill the entire team. Defense up, Superior 6 gets defense up in Crucible, be damned. It's not going to matter. I do have a somewhat example here. Obviously, I'm the one using Superior 6 here. I am using my Overpowered advantage into this Mutant team. And I just wanted to give an example of just like the insane damage. I'm just trying to really showcase the insane damage that happens here. So this is my Green Goblin. He's a striker. This ultimate attack normally doesn't do too much damage here. All these characters are basically even builds. I think they're missing purple ISO, is why it's kind of offbeat here. So you can see lots of damage comes in, but that's not all. I then have my Slayer, kind of skipped it. Slayer comes in. He kills everybody. He never does that much damage. Like, Overpowered is having a huge, huge, huge impact in places that I don't think was the intention, or maybe it was, and they're really hurting the game. So let's talk about modes that are hit the hardest. Arena gets hit the hardest. You can't make the argument that Arena's not hit the hardest, because as soon as you have an Odin, it's over. So here was my first match with Overpowered in play. My Odin is gear tier 20. Theirs isn't. And, I mean, this is kind of an annoying fight. I mean, there's an easier way to do it. I could share the best team with you if you want. You just take Null out, put Annihilators in. But what's going to end up happening here is everything's kind of goofy, right? Hopefully we attack this a little bit faster. I just want to show the damage from Odin part. I don't want this video to be too long for no reason. So the Null caused my Odin to do an assist here, or rather a mind control attack, which lets me do the special. Any day now. There we go. So now my Odin does his special. Watch the health of the enemy, in particular that Odin. Because watch that Odin. He is gear tier 19. He is full life. He's got the damage reduction. Watch what my Odin does. Kills the entire enemy team in one shot. He killed the Null. He killed the Apocalypse one shot. Gore was after that. I'm starting to get assists in. He just took that Gladiator, a maxed out Gladiator, just not gear tier 20. Took 50% of his life off in one assist. Those were assists that he just did that dropped that Odin super low. We take this hit. People are going to die. It's like, oh man, this is going to be Odin v Odin slap fight. Not so much. It's an instant death. The ult from my Odin did 80%. So this is literally going to be for Arena. Did you get your Odin to gear tier 20 first and before everybody else? Right? And then after that, it's going to be your Null. Did you get your Null to gear tier 20 first before anybody else so that you're getting so much of that extra damage out there? It's not healthy. I don't think it's healthy for our PvP modes. And we've seen a lot of war content. We'll have a Crucible videos out this weekend that'll be showcasing Overpowered. I'm sure of it. It feels so wrong. The game does not feel like it has the strategic depth that it did before yesterday, before Overpowered was put into the game. Who are the hardest hit players? Believe it or not, newer players are hit the hardest by this because their Overpowered on their entire roster is starting at 0, right? It doesn't hit until a certain marker. For newer engaged players, they will hit a wall of Crucible defenses that are abandoned. People that quit the game. They're going to be walking in and they're going to be getting absolutely obliterated by incidental damage, and it's going to be a horrible experience. When it comes to war, they're going to be going in and having an absolutely horrible experience. Level 90 to be Pacific for the first Overpowered rank. New players are going to have a really, really bad time with this. The upside of this is I do have a little bit of advice for new players on how they could maybe use this to their benefit, but it's not in a clever or fun way. It's just in a very prescriptive way, which is where the game seems to be going, which I'm not a super big fan of. Endgame light spenders. Yeah, endgame light spenders, you're done. You just saw what Odin did in Arena. Imagine when you have to face enemy Nulls in Crucible. Imagine when you have to face Mephistos. Okay, Null is a Mephisto counter. but Null doesn't properly counter Mephisto. Null stops the empowered state of Mephisto. He does not stop the speed stat of Mephisto. What does Mephisto do when he can't get empowered? He does his special. It does an insane amount of damage. He's still going to lap most characters and use his basic after that. So if Mephisto is overpowered on some of your characters, you could quickly see yourself, even with Null as the counter, being in a 4v5 and being absolutely devastated. It really does trivialize a lot of what are supposed to be counters here. Null is not a great Mephisto counter in light of Overpowered. I said it. I meant it. He wasn't great in some situations before where you're using like a 4-star Liberty member. Now it's even worse. And Mephisto's going to be one of the characters that people race. Going to be one of the that people race to. All right? So kind of worried about that. And this is going to be the case every single time a new progression path comes out. We get 3 new progression paths every single year. Gear, level cap, ISO, right? So it's going to happen 3 times. They have been doing a better job at speeding through the process, where it's like, okay, if I was playing and I was an endgame player when Purple ISO started, I should be in a position now where I can kind of equip Purple ISO to every single new character. If I'm in an alliance that is hitting those alliance milestones, doing good in war, and doing good in the raids or whatever else is giving me Purple ISO. That's important. The alliances are more important than ever, right? But you can keep up with Purple ISO. I know a lot of people are going to get mad about that in the comment sections. It's just true. I'm sorry. Okay? Truth sucks sometimes. Just like Overpowered. Overpowered sucks too. I'm with you on that one for sure. If they keep that sort of a status quo where there is like an exclusivity to Gear Tier 20 for the first 2 months, and then we get maybe 2 months where we are caught up to the big spenders, and then ISO comes out right away, then you could see maybe 4-month periods where 2 months suck, 2 months are even. 2 months suck, 2 months are even. 2 months suck, 2 months are even. That's the sort of pace that they set with the last level cap increase and the last ISO. I'm going to be interested to see if they do that with Gear Tier. Otherwise, light spenders, you might be fucked all year round. I'm sorry for swearing, but you might be screwed all year round. And then there's non-veteran accounts. Here's an example of a non-veteran account against my veteran account. I have a lot of my members leveled up. Because guess what? I had a huge hoard of training materials. So I just farmed the gold from the showcases. If there's gold, I'm farming those nodes 3 times a day. I'm getting like 3-4 gold orbs a day. I'm able to keep up with it. Believe it or not. That's a strategy, right? So I have Overpowered 10 on these characters because I am caught up on all the progression paths. His actual team, not level 105 yet. Might be a newer player, right? The amount of damage that I end up inflicting on this team with my zombie Juggernaut, who is rank 10, is kind of crazy. We're going to speed this up to the point where I'm hitting with Juggernaut with his ultimate. And chat, by the way, made me second guess the damage of Overpowered. I was like, okay, well, maybe the ultimate from Juggernaut's not going to kill the Emma Frost. So you shouldn't target here because you'll end up clearing the Shadow King and you'll end up getting wrecked. So I do go and I hit the Emma Frost here to make sure I get the win. And there is no ISO attack for Juggernaut here. This is just straight death. And it's death to all of those Astral members who, look, they're at like 80% life. That's one of the new premier war defense teams. Are you kidding me? Absolutely cranked. And that's going to be a difference in a lot of matchups now. My Spider Society, we talked about Spider Society before, is all rank 10. My Hive Mind is all rank 10. It's going to be easier to get them to snowball against enemies that are not rank 10, right? So I'm kind of at a super, super unfair advantage. But let's talk about best advice. Don't panic build. Don't panic build. Don't panic spend. Don't panic right now. Because Scopely, if nothing else, is really good at putting in super stupid things like really poorly designed Starjammers, really poorly designed Vigilante. I'm certain they're going to get a rework. They're just so bad. And now this Overpowered system, and then they react reflexively to how the community responds. So once again, get loud. Be civil. Don't be an asshole, right? But get loud. Get on Reddit. Get in the Discord. Like, hey, like, here's my feelings on Overpowered. It sucks. It makes me dislike the game because of this. And then be honest. Don't be hyperbolic either. That doesn't help anybody. But be honest if you feel the same way I do about this. In time, if they do not nerf Overpowered, and I do think they should nerf Overpowered, look what I did here. I brought my Tigra up to Overpowered 10. I leveled her up to level 105. And the reason I did that is because she is the MVP damage dealer on the new version. Now, this is a terrible example because this is what a veteran account can do, not what any other account should do, right? Level 105 is a lot of gold. That's a lot of training materials. And you also need to put purple ISO and crimson gear to even reach that rank 10. But the benefit from it is crazy. So her special doesn't do much damage, right? So we just get a lot of bleeds out there. Those bleeds end up doing damage. But watch what happens when she does her ultimate here. She hits for 4 million, 6 million, 5, 6 million. She's hitting for 6 million in these new stat characters. She brought them from green life to dead. And that doesn't even include the bleed damage. You should just be building up your MVP damage dealers to start. That would be like your... If you want to look at older war teams, because you want your war teams to somewhat function, that would be something like your Tigra, your Green Goblin and your Vulture, your Red Hulk, your Taskmaster. You're going to build them up for Thunderbolts eventually anyway, right? Just your big damage dealers. Because Overpowered, there's focus to it, but like Overpowered doesn't give the enemy extra defensive stats. So it's all just about making sure that you are doing more damage to the enemies that are below you, and you're not getting absolutely obliterated by the enemies that are above you. But because of the way 90% of the combat in this game works, is you should be going first. So you should literally just be focusing on having your damage dealers be at the highest overpowered rank possible. But again, please, don't panic build. Wait and see if they look at Overpowered and then make some adjustments. And never look back. I did Tiger because I'm a psychopath, right? You shouldn't. You should just be focusing now, as you should always be focused on in this game, is building up what is currently being released. Because if you don't build up Vigilante now, first of all, you need to, because they're the raid team. They're going to be the raid team for the next raid tier as well, right? If you don't build them up now, and you have to build them up when Hitmonkey comes out in 3 weeks, but you've been spending all your resources trying to catch up on Hive Mind, you're never going to have the right amount of resources to keep up with what's new. Abandon what's old. It's the best advice in this game. If you don't have the older stuff max level right now and you're getting wrecked by Overpowered, that's fine. Let that be the case for now. Look towards the future. Build what's new. And don't put Gear Tier 20 Vigilante for Professor X until they rework Vigilante, for the love of God. I don't think Overpowered is even strong enough to save Vigilante, unfortunately. That's it, guys. I strongly think Overpowered is far too heavy-handed. It needs to go. I don't think there's any reason for this. Overpowered as a system should just be scrapped, and instead, slap an extra 10 to 15% damage on the gear tier. Slap an extra 10% damage into the ISO. Slap an extra 10% damage into the leveling process, right? The Krakens are going to have more of those characters completely maxed out than your mid-spenders are. And 10 to 50% damage is more than enough. I hear people saying like, well, what if they lowered it to 35? Don't give them that out, guys. If they feel like this is something that has to happen, 10 to 15% damage is more than enough to introduce a element of just rage-inducing RNG into certain matchups. 50% is just stupid. All right, guys. If you agree with me, get loud on Reddit, get loud in the Discords, but be respectful. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.